This is the Williams FW29, year 2007, mileage 30,000 kilometers. It's the basic version without radio or the sat-nav. It has a few scratches but nothing serious. Today we'll talk about what it's like to own an used F1 car. Of course, I'm way too small YouTuber for such toys, so this car isn't mine. However, with me is Juha Rajamaki, Scandinavian Formula 3 champion, who even tested an F1 car with Arrow's team. Williams happens to be his company car, and he will soon reveal everything you need to know before buying such a machine. How do you buy an F1 car?
Well, I bought these cars in 2014 from Williams Grand Prix Racing. That was that time when Frank Williams was still alive, you know. And I bought 3 cars. It took some time to sort it out. I think I was to grow for at least 3 times to have a chat with the people who took care about the sales. And then finally we had a contract and I signed it and I bought 3 cars. It's very difficult to buy cars today from the factories. They don't sell any car. So the only thing is that maybe you can find a car somewhere on a race site who has a show car or something like that. But they are not so complete, you know. They of course didn't have any engine, because these cars I have, they didn't have any engine either, because they were equipped with Toyota V8 in that time. But those engines belonged to Toyota, so Williams didn't own the engines, they just leased them, you know. But if you buy a car, as I said, on the internet, if you find one on a race site, then it's a car without, it's an empty gearbox, for instance, no brakes, no dampers. It's very complicated to get that car running.
So do you need substitute for every important part?
You have to modify quite a lot to get it going, you know, because they are so complicated. You know, if you take a car from this era, for instance, they had engines that were revving around 19,000 revs. And if you take a car like that, you can't use it for what we are using the car for, to let amateurs have a tryout, because they don't go below 10,000 revs. It makes life very difficult. So we have made some modification on the type of engine we are using from Judds today, 3.5 liter version. And it's easier to drive on lower revs, actually. We have taken the revs down instead of keeping them high up, so lower them instead.
Is it possible to buy a race engine?
It is possible, but if you do that, there is nobody around who have parts for the engine to rebuild it or to get it going. That's the problem.
Is any of current F1 manufacturers still making V8s?
They completely stopped, you know, because they are running the hybrid engines in the V6 turbo version today, and these engines are out. There is actually a guy in a company in the UK who is making racing engines, where I bought my engines from. Judd Engine Development. They make engines for order. I ordered a V10 for a project I have in Sweden now, which is going to be ready for the autumn this year for testing. It's a V10 Grand Prix version engine. So you can buy actually a V8. They are building the V8 after your own wishing, how you want to have it, you know.
I believe they are using Cosworths in Boss GP.
That's the older version of Cosworth engines. There is no new ones to buy anymore. There was a guy who had like 3 or 4 V10 Cosworth engines, and he had them going by a guy who prepared them for him. But these are very expensive to run, and I'm not so sure if he's competing in the Boss GP anymore.
Is it hard to adapt a car to a different engine?
It's quite a lot, actually. You have to do that to start with the engine mounting in the front of the engine, where you bolt it into the tub, in the face of the tub, you know, the monocoque. And then you have to make a spacer to fit the gearbox into it. And you have to do all the piping, the housing for water, the oil, the fuel. It's lots of hours to have one made.
How many engines you need per season?
I don't need many engines for that. I don't have any spare engine. I have the same engines in all these cars, and they run for approximately over a season. We are talking about maybe 40 hours in the speed that the clients are driving. Some clients are driving a little bit harder. Most of the people are so scared that they can't run the engine in maximum power. So approximately 40 hours, and then you have to rebuild the engine.
What about the other parts? Can you buy suspension or wings?
You can't buy them. When I bought this package with 3 cars, I sold 1 car to finance my own cars. Then I had all the wishbones in spare, pushrod, wishbones, front nose, rear wing, wishbone parts in spare. I haven't had so far any big accidents, only some spins. I think we lost the rear wheel once and 1 top wishbone and damaged the rear wing. That's all we had throughout the years. The cars are very good to drive, very safe, and we use good tires on the car to make them more easier to drive.
And if you would have a crash?
I have a spare car, so I take that, and then I have to try to sort out where I can find the parts for it. Many parts you can manufacture, you can have them made, you know. These are very difficult to have made because these are in carbon, and it's not that easy. It's very expensive. Otherwise, most of the mechanical bits in the gearbox you can have made. There are companies in UK who is making gear ratios. They're making bevel gears, final drives. I have made lots of bits from UK to fit my gearboxes.
Why F1 teams does not sell newer cars?
They don't want to get the cars on the market if somebody is, you know, doing something stupid with their car. If it is like a Renault or something like that, they don't want to have bad publicity. I think that is one of the things. And the other thing is that they don't want to share the secret they had on the car to who else, you know, to somebody else who's spreading it around. Look, I got a Renault car here from 2014 and look how that is built and blah, blah, blah. They don't want to have that spread around.
Can you drive F1 car without racing experience?
It's not that complicated. It's that you don't give too much throttle before you have all the wheels in the straight position. If you go too hard on the throttle in the middle of the corner, you will lose the back and pine. You're off. That's one thing to think about. Be smooth with the right foot, smooth with the throttle, and then floor it when the car is straight.
How hard is the maintenance of such car?
Yeah, it's quite a lot actually. During the winter time I take them completely apart. I take the gearbox out and strip it from all the wishbones. I open the gearbox completely, go through everything, change gear ratios, bearings, whatever it's necessary to change. I take the engine out to have a check on everything outside there. And I strip the front wishbones apart and the rear wishbones apart and re-grease them and I put it together. So it takes the whole winter to do these 3 cars. Okay. I'll tell you, it's a hard work.
This is all you need to know before buying your own F1 car. I hope this video proves helpful to you and you will soon enjoy your new machines. Of course, big shout out to Formula Drive and Rajamaki Racing Experience because I wouldn't be able to make such video without them.